Hello all, and I know it's been a while since I've done a video, sorry, most of my videos now go on the other channel I'm involved with, SupeReal Productions, so it's not that I haven't done anything, it's just that they've been going on there instead, and I'll put a link around somewhere to the website. We've done various videos. I've done top 5 fun things to do in Majora's Mask when you should be saving Termina, that was quite good. We've done our top 10 twists in the Zelda series, which has done well. There's other things, we've got a Christmas special coming up, loads of other random things. I've got loads of plans for that channel. I've got a few plans for this one as well, so I haven't forgotten about my wonderful fans. There are things to come up, it's just, sorry it's taking such a long time. I'm also having to move, which is kind of throwing things out a little bit as well, but we'll get there, and don't worry, there are things planned. So, as you all probably know, massive Zelda fan, done several of them, several videos, and I actually got the Link Between Worlds 3DS, so I don't have the actual box to show you, but I'm going to be doing a quick overview of what I thought of the game. Download code on this, it's so pretty. So, normally with these winged reviews, I just yammer on for 10 minutes or whatever, but rather than just sit here and yammer on, I'm going to be splitting it up into several sections. So I'll be talking about various different things, and spoilers will be kept to an absolute minimum. I'm sure you've heard about the great twists, and there are some genius ones in this, so nothing about that will be covered. I'll try and keep things as very basic as possible, but yeah, so we're going to start going through the sections. Let's do the first one. As with most Zelda games, you're Link and you have to try and prevent some sort of bad thing from happening, most of the time with Zelda just standing there doing sod all. So in this, it does change things a little bit in this. There's a bloke, Yuga, I think that was his name anyway, it's been a couple of weeks since I finished it, so I might get a few pronunciations wrong, forget some things, sorry about that, but it's been a while. So he's trying to kidnap the 7 stages by turning them into pictures so that he can resurrect Ganondorf, and you have to pretty much stop him. You have to go around and collect a few MacGuffins, which ends up giving you the Master Sword. You try and stop him, of course, fail, and then you have to do something else in order to then try and stop the bigger picture. So it's pretty basic. It's after that point that you then get to travel between Hyrule and Lorule, which, no spoilers now, this is all basic stuff which you probably would have seen in the actual adverts and all that sort of thing. So it is good. So you're pretty much now just then trying to collect other MacGuffins in order to stop him. I mean, I won't go into more than that, but it's your basic Zelda premise, really. It has changed things slightly, but that is pretty much it. So yeah, that's the plot. As you get towards the end, there are some massive twists towards the end, and although, as I mentioned just now, that we did our top 10 twists in the Zelda series on the SupeReal Productions, but at the time we did it, Justin, who's the other guy who was involved in that video, neither of us had played A Link Between Worlds at the point we had the video sorted. But had I played Link Between Worlds by that point, then there would have been multiple twists from the game on the top 10 list. Some of them are absolute genius, and I was shouting at the screen when I was playing it. So there are some very, very good twists. So it's a pretty basic plot, nothing particularly special, but why fix what ain't broke? It's pretty much exactly the same as A Link to the Past. So if you liked A Link to the Past, you'll like A Link Between Worlds. One of my mates said that he didn't really like A Link to the Past because the combat system was just rock'em sock'em robots, which he found a bit boring, which, fair enough, each their own. I played Link to the Past a few years ago, I borrowed it off a friend, had to rush through it a little bit. So it was a good game. I don't quite get the hype about it, but I enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed Link Between Worlds as well. So it's the same. If you like one, you'll like the other. Yeah, there's a graphical upgrade and all that sort of thing, but as far as gameplay is concerned, it's the same thing. You can assign your weapons to your buttons and all that sort of thing, and you just hack stuff up, and it's great fun. Though with the items in this, normally with Zelda games, as you travel through the different dungeons, you end up getting various different stuff in each dungeon, and normally you have to use that weapon against the boss. In this, though, you can rent pretty much every item right from the start. There's a bloke, Ravioli I think his name was, or something like that. He rents you this stuff, and if you die in a dungeon, then he takes all of his stuff back, and then you have to go and rent it from him again, so you have to keep paying. I think I died once, and that was about it, but I was planning on stopping then anyway, so I managed to keep the stuff slightly cheating, but what the hell. And so that's it. Well, I did see a review, I think it was IGN or something, where someone said that it's not quite so good when you're going through a temple and you find the hookshot or boomerang in a chest when you were able to rent it right from the beginning anyway, but you don't actually find any of them in chests. There are things to find in dungeons, other trinkets and items to help you out, but your basic boomerang, bow and arrow and all that sort of stuff you don't find in the chest. Once you rent them, after a little while through the game, Ravioli says that he'll sell them to you instead, and it costs a fair bit, but you buy them rather than find them. But as I said, there are other things for you to find instead. Other things, quests and all that sort of thing, I will get onto in a minute. But as far as gameplay is concerned, yeah, it works quite well. It's a top-down perspective, as I mentioned, so you just run around, and it was, yeah, not much to say about that. Well, I could, but all that stuff I will say for the next few sections. I could just say it's a Zelda game, of course it's good, but I'll try and drag this out a little bit longer. Yeah, there are some classic tunes in there that come back, and as you're running around you'll go, oh, I remember that tune, and it's all great stuff. Some of them they have changed slightly, some of them not necessarily for the better, but the music was good enough. I was whistling a few of the songs every now and again, so yeah, great stuff. This would probably be my favourite aspect of the game. It's one of the reasons I like the Zelda series so much, and with some of the previous games, the puzzles have been good, but they've not been particularly great, and in A Link Between Worlds, they are amazing. A number of times I solved and I just went, that's brilliant. They were great. The temples that you go through, there is your basic, you get your fire level, your water level, your foresty. That was the dog, by the way. So you get all of these weird sort of places, and although the temples aren't particularly long, they do what they do extremely well, and the puzzles that you find throughout each one are brilliant. You've probably seen the painting mechanic thing where you turn into a picture, so you have to think of things on a 2D plane as well as a 3D plane, but that's not all that the puzzles revolve around. You have to use your items, you have to look at the layout of the room, you have to look at what's available, and there's just so many things to take into consideration. They've really went to town with some of these puzzles. With one of the temples, I think it's called the Dark Palace or something, it's one of the things where the less light there is, the more you can see. So you're actually running around turning lights off, so things light up to show you, or give hints about what you need to do. And it was such a great level, probably one of the best ones, and every temple was genius. The puzzles were brilliant. It would be my favourite aspect of the game. I mean, the rest of it is really good and very well done, but these puzzles were just... I cannot rate these puzzles high enough. I mean, I always have a habit of hyping things up a bit too much, which I really don't want to do, but as far as I was concerned, the puzzles were the best thing about the game. It's probably some of the best puzzles we've had since... well, a long time, pretty much. Wind Waker, a lot of people say, was too easy, and yes, it was. Twilight Princess had some decent ones. Skyward Sword, yeah, had a few, so it's probably been a while since we've had puzzles this good. I really like this side of the game. And outside of the dungeons as well, there were a few little puzzles to solve here and there. So there's even some special rooms that you can find, and it's pretty much just one pure puzzle to try and figure out how to get to a treasure at the end. And it was brilliant. Loved it. Best part of the game. Yeah, great stuff. Of course, every Zelda game has loads of side quests and mini-games, and A Link Between Worlds is no exception. There's plenty of stuff to do. I think I didn't do everything, and yet I had about 19 hours of gameplay by the end of my first run. The main quest really would probably be the Maya Mori, or the little urchin things you have to collect. I have no idea what they're called, how you pronounce it. There's 100 of them spread throughout Hyrule and Lorule, and you take them back to their mother, and for every 10 you take back to her, she gives you, she upgrades one of your items. So it's pretty much the Gold Skull Shula quest from Ocarina of Time, only slightly better. You even have to listen out for the noise they make to locate them. So it's pretty much that rehashed, but at least you get something a bit more regularly, and upgrading your equipment was really helpful as well. I do news posts on the Zelda Dungeon website, and one of the posts I did on there was shortly after they announced the whole upgrading weapons thing. I did a post saying that in Skyward Sword, when they did it, it was good, but it was all for its own sake. There was nothing that required the upgraded version and able to sort of do. I think with the bow and arrow, once you've upgraded it, you can shoot arrows further or something like that. So, but everything you needed to hit could be hit with the box standard bow, so you never needed to upgrade it. So I thought, seeing as in A Link Between Worlds, when you upgrade the bow, you can shoot 3 arrows, which I thought there might be a little puzzle where there's 3 switches, and you need the 3 arrows to hit them all at the same time in order to activate them. Nothing like that happened. Again, it was all for its own sake, so you don't have to upgrade them. It can make things a little bit easier if you do. One of the items was this little like grass leaf twirly thing which sends out a big puff of air, and you can use it to stun enemies pretty much all around you. So I used it quite a lot just because stunned enemies are easy to kill. So that was one of the first things that I actually upgraded. I did the bow and arrow as well, the ice cane and all that sort of thing. I upgraded some of the things I thought there's no real point. So, I mean, like the ice cane and all that sort of thing. Yeah, it's nice and it's flash, but really the bog standard one would have done the job perfectly well. So, again, it's all for its own sake. It's just a novelty of it, but it's nice to have. There's also a baseball game you can play, which was actually quite good fun. You have all these jars around and you knock them, you get points, you get combos, things come flying across that you can hit and all that sort of thing, and depending on your score, depends on what prize you get, so you can get a heart piece, which is always good. There's also a chicken dodging game. That was intense. You have all these chickens come flying at you and you just have to dodge out the way. So they've pretty much taken the hacking up chickens so they come at you and put it into a mini game. So that was quite good fun. There's loads of other little things to do and find around the place, both in high rule and low rule, so there is plenty of stuff to do. There is the hero mode as well, which I've not done yet. I'm not really that fussed about it. If it was a Master Quest, then I'd have hacked into that straight away. Master Quest, genius. But just basic hero mode, not too fussed. I did the Skyward Sword one, and it was good, it was interesting, but I've got other games that I wanted to play instead, so I will get round and do it eventually. It's just not quite yet. Had it been a Master Quest, I'd probably would have done it long ago, but it's not, so what can you do? So, there's plenty of bang for your buck in this game. There's loads to do, loads of fun times to be had, loads of replay value, so it's done really well on the quests. Although I knew which 5 games would be in my top 5, I wasn't entirely sure which way round to put them. It changes quite regularly, and now I played A Link Between Worlds, I've got to include that. It's got to be a top 5. It is absolutely amazing. It's not my favourite, it's damn good, but I don't know, I often think that with a game like that, it would have been better on a console, because even just having it third person perspective, it would have been much better. The top down was fine, it worked, it was great, but they could have done so much more, particularly with the combat side of things, had they have had it third person perspective. So I wouldn't say that let it down, but it would have been better had it have been done slightly differently. It worked as it was, and it is still going to be in my top 5, but had they just made that small change, it could have been a much better game. But even so, there's so much great stuff to go with it. The plot's quite good, the twists at the end are amazing. Really did not see that coming, and I was proper blown away. And the puzzles are probably the best side of things, some great weapons, items, some nice cool people you meet along the way, some nice references to other games too. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen the thing on Majora's Mask hanging on the wall and all that sort of thing, so there's some great stuff in it, and it is such an amazing game. I mean, I was planning on getting a 3DS anyway, but I was going to wait until after I moved to get it, but then there was a website that was having a one-day sale, 30% off. I went for it, and I don't regret it in the slightest. It's such an amazing game, and I love it. If you like Zelda, get it. If you don't, get it anyway, because there's so much going for it that it is such a good game to play. I absolutely love it. Score-wise, it would probably be something like a 9 out of 10. I mean, there are a few minor issues with it, but they're nothing major, so it's such a good... someone I was speaking to on the Zelda Dungeon side of things said that when they often play games on the XL 3DSs, it can sometimes be a little bit pixelated, which, yes, there were a few moments where it was, because it's the same resolution as on a smaller screen, but those times were few and far between to really notice, and even then, it was mainly just during cutscenes that it happened. Not mentioned the 3D side of things, actually, and I'm not a fan of 3D anyway, even films, games, anything. I don't think it adds anything particularly to anything, so I try to avoid it most of the time, and I did spend most of A Link Between Worlds with the 3D off. I did try it on the odd occasion, and yes, it looked good, and there were some great moments, some brilliant cutscenes where afterwards I thought, I probably should have had 3D for that, but on the ones where I did have the 3D on, it looked good, it was very impressive, but I didn't really think it added too much to the actual game. So if you've got a 2DS and you're going to get this, then you're not going to miss out on a huge amount, but then again, someone who actually likes 3D might say that it does make a big difference, so it's a personal thing really. So, but overall, brilliant game, absolutely loved it, amazing, they've done so well with it, and I'm really looking forward now to the I'm sure they're doing a Zelda one, or the Wii U, which I haven't got a Wii U yet, but give it some time, I'm sure I will. So, fantastic game, absolutely loved it, get it. See you next time.